read and write. It happened under Fidel. We want to be like Fidel because when we take over government, we want to increase the life expectancy of our people. Because in Cuba, the life expectancy is 79 years. Because there are no proper facilities to deal with curable diseases. We want to be like Cuba because 98% of those who must be in secondary and primary school, they are there. They are not loitering the streets because their parents do not have money. We want to train doctors. We want to produce doctors and supply the whole of African continent. Where did you learn that? We learned that from Cuba. We saw in Cuba that it is possible to supply the world with doctors. Cuba is the biggest supplier of doctors and medical practitioners. The biggest in the whole world. Bigger than the G8 countries. The G8 countries are developed countries with money. But they can't beat Cuba when it comes to the supply of doctors and medical practitioners. We are proud of Fidel. We want to be like Fidel because there is free higher education in Cuba. There are 23 medical schools in Cuba. Here in South Africa, yet the economy of Cuba is way smaller than our economy. But medical schools here in South Africa, I don't think they are more than these fingers here. Because those who control the means of production are refusing to invest in the development of poor people. We want to be like Cuba. Because in Cuba, one doctor looks after 155 people. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 155, all of you will have your own doctor. That's what is happening in Cuba. Let's come to Soweto, not South Africa, Soweto. Bara here. How many doctors are there? There are no doctors to look after our people. Our people die in their numbers. Abu Gogo, they no longer want to go to hospital. When a grandmother or father is sick to a point where he or she can't speak, once you mention the word Bara, she's going to garner strength for 2 minutes. Aroskan kisamo mushareng wo. Because our hospitals are no longer hospitals. They've been converted into mortuaries. You go there having a problem of a one teeth. They go and remove it. When you come back, you are paralyzed, the whole body can't work. Those are the types of facilities we have in South Africa. Why? Because there is no Fidel Castro in South Africa. So in our lifetime, we must produce Fidel Castro. And that Fidel Castro must produce the doctors. Those doctors must provide free primary health care for our people. Every block here in Protea, this block of communities, they must have their doctor. It must be fashionable to go to a doctor to check the high blood, to check sugar levels, so that you can slow down on savannah and all those things. So it's important that the diseases that we can discover much earlier through regular checkups are attended to, and we cure them. And once you cure those diseases, you are going to live up to 90 like Fidel. We want our people to live longer. So all of us must know that some of us, when we speak about solidarity with Cuba, we don't just say it in rallies and in the press conferences. We have always supported the Cuban people. In our previous life, we paid for a private jet to go and fetch 300 youth, 300 young people from Cuba in 2010 to come and attend the World Festival of Youth and Students here in South Africa. If the ANC is honest, they will tell you they were refusing to pay. And as a president of the Youth League, I fought to a point where they knew they have no option but to pay. Because we know what the Cubans have done for us. And we cannot have a world festival for youth and students without the youth of Cuba. Why did we pay for the private jet of the Cubans? Because they cannot afford. They don't have money. Because the economic embargo imposed on them by Americans made Cuba to be poor. Not because Cubans are lazy. The Cubans are working hard. But America has imposed an embargo on them and has intimidated everyone who wants to work with the Cubans, not to work with the Cubans. If you work with the Cubans, America will punish you. So we said we are going to give the youth of Cuba a jet as a sign of solidarity, and we don't care what the Americans are saying. Because we are not in a business of impressing Americans. So we are. My throat is permanently dry. I don't know why. Some witches are trying me. They are not going to succeed because I come from Limpopo. So. Now, we want to be like Fidel and we want to be like Cuba because we want South Africa without poverty. We want South Africa with free education. We want quality primary health care which is free. We want the jobs for our people. We want the economy to be controlled by the people and not the white minorities. We must ensure that we celebrate the life of this fearless fighter of a socialist revolution. We must fight for the total emancipation of our people. So some of you who are scared and who think that you can only do these things when you are older, you must think again. Because Fidel Castro started the struggle when he was 19 at the University of Havana. 19 years. He took on the government of the day. Batista took over Cuba. and then started benefiting himself, his friend, and gangsters in Cuba. And Fidel said, we cannot tolerate this kleptocracy. It's unacceptable. Fidel had a problem with a government that benefit the family and the friends and criminals. There was a point even in government of Cuba where in cabinet you found a leader of gangsters as a minister. Don't behave like it's not possible. We have it here. Because here, you've got a minister that steals rhino horns. That's gangsterism. It's not different from what Fidel fought against. A government of criminals who capture state power to benefit themselves and their families. Fidel fought against corruption. Fidel fought against a government which benefited American elite and the political elite in Cuba. So we don't want to be like these ones who are like Batista here. Because here, we have a situation where a government is benefiting the family, friends, and a group of criminals. Like Batista. Batista introduced the laws that suppressed socialism and suppressed dissent. Fidel said we can't sit back and allow a man who suppresses us. Every time we speak, we get arrested. Exactly what we see here today. The political speech get prosecuted here in South Africa. Like it was prosecuted under Batista. Fidel graduated as a lawyer, fought those laws of Batista but never succeeded. And he was left with no option but to take up arms and fight the regime which is suppressing dissent in Cuba. Fidel took arms and fought Batista through the July 26 movement. They entered, they fought, they took over Cuba through a barrel of a gun because they were not prepared to listen to sensible arguments. Fidel was not violent. They made him violent because they responded to his peaceful arguments through violence. When you respond to peaceful demands through violence, you leave us with no option but to respond to violence with violence, like Fidel did, responded violence with violence. Maybe you don't know Fidel, you think we are telling a story. Mandela responded violence with violence. He took up arms, inspired by Fidel and those who came before them. That's why the choosing of this venue here, Soweto, is the most important thing. Because here comes many leaders who led the South African Revolution, inspired by the fearless character of Fidel Castro. So we are saying to all of you who have things that belong to us, please return them. Anything that belongs to us, please return. Like Fidel, we are not fighting. We are putting a sensible argument. We have no guns. We do not threaten to shoot you. We are asking for you to return the land to the rightful owners. Because when Fidel took over Cuba, he expropriated the land without compensation. When Fidel took over Cuba, he nationalized the multinational companies. Hauna coke kwa Cuba go. Ntwale na ya phela le no di coke le sa tsebo re di tswa kae. Le benefit ama America. There is no coke in Cuba. They've got their own cold drink with a name closer to Coke, but it's not Coke. They are demonstrating to you that they can still drink a cold drink. It doesn't have to necessarily be Coke. So some of you even confuse the name cold drink with Coke. We can still drink cold drink, and it doesn't have to be Coke. We can still eat a burger. It doesn't have to come from McDonald's. We can make our own here, like the Cubans have made their own. Now we hear a story here that socialism has failed in Cuba. We are waiting like Fidel was waiting to be shown the success of capitalism here in Africa and Latin America. Where did capitalism succeed? Socialism succeeded in Cuba. For them to achieve what they have achieved under the embargo of America, can you imagine if America did not impose sanctions on them? Where will socialism be today? They say what is in Cuba is not democracy. Who said what we have here is democracy? Because even here you don't elect president. President is elected by 400 people out of 53 million. What type of democracy is that one? Hey, there's no democracy in Cuba. What is democracy to you might not be democracy to me. Don't impose your definition of democracy on us. Socialism is a democracy because socialism wants to distribute everything else that gets produced in that country to the people. Unlike capitalism, which is producing for the benefits of the boss and profit, socialism produces for all. There will never be a better democracy than a democracy that produces for human development. People say there is no innovation under socialism, that innovation comes with a capitalism. But that is not correct. Under capitalism, innovation is for the benefit of the boss. Under socialism, innovation is for human development. Everyone else must benefit from the production of a cell phone. Why? Because communication has become necessary. So if you produce cell phone, you must know that everyone else must have cell phone. And if cell phone is going to work through data, there is an innovation of data. That data must have, everyone else must have access to that data, and not the elite few. That's what we want in South Africa. Let me tell you, in everything else I said here, I never said Fidel never made a mistake. He is a human being. He will make mistakes. But do we care about individual conduct, or do we care about policy perspective and ideological orientation of such individuals? Fidel developed Cuba. Fidel survived a lot of assassination attempts. They wanted to kill him. More than 600 times. The imperialists wanted to finish Fidel. I was reading yesterday, here or a day before, South African president saying he survived. No, they wanted to kill him. How many times? 3 times. He says no. Yeah, they wanted to kill me 3 times. We are talking serious things here. More than 600 times by the imperialist forces, America attempting to kill Fidel. More than 3 times, Zuma's wives attempting to kill Zuma. There is no comparison there. Hey, Mantuli. Is it Mantuli? She was kicked out for having fed Zuma poison. And when I investigated through my own investigation, it was not a poison. It was a love poison, Korobela. Omuchelechi Korobela. But the mistake she did, she put an overdose. That's why Zuma was sick. So assassination attempts we're talking about is a defeat of the most powerful nation. More than 600 times by Commandant Fidel. No one has survived that. Fidel told them that I'm going to bow out on my own condition. No one is going to make me leave this country. That's what we need. We need leaders who are going to inspire generations after generations. Who are these people to claim the legacy of Fidel Castro? Why would the ANC stand up to celebrate Fidel's life when they've not done anything that is close to Fidel? They sold out what Fidel stood for. They sold out what the Cubans died for. Fidel told them that the Boers are going to fight with you over the Freedom Charter. He warned them. It's not like they didn't know. They knew that there's going to be a big battle on the Freedom Charter. Even when they were warned, the Boers came and said to them, abandon the Freedom Charter. They threw the Freedom Charter into a political dustbin and bowed to the enemy. And then we came. We went to fetch the Freedom Charter from a political dustbin and cleaned it up. And we are pursuing that struggle contained in the Freedom Charter. Who are you to go around saying Fidel must rest in peace when you sold out what Fidel stood for? Zuma is not even ashamed to go and speak in the memorial service of Fidel when he knows very well that is the opposite of what Fidel is fighting for. Zuma is Batista of our time. Zuma is a kleptocrat. Zuma is a criminal. Zuma is benefiting his family and his friends like Batista did in Cuba, and we must crush him like Fidel crushed Batista in Cuba, because the defeat of Zuma is the ushering in of true freedom in South Africa. Who's Zuma to tell us that Fidel must rest in peace? when they sold out Fidel, when those who died in Kutoko Naval, they are now turning in their graves when they see what is happening here in South Africa and the whole of Africa, liberation movements eating their own children. We are Fidel of the 21st century. That's what you need to tell yourself. Who's blading Zimande to say Fidel must rest in peace when he refuses to give the children free education and the children in Cuba have got free education? Why is Blade lying that Fidel is his role model? Because if Fidel was his role model, he would have ushered in free education by now. We need free, quality education. We are not playing. I listen to Zuma. I listen to Maite Mashaban. Those are the people who voted for the resolution that killed brother leader Gaddafi in Libya. Zuma has got blood of Gaddafi in his hands. Maite Nkwana Mashaban has got blood of brother leader on her hands. They killed Fidel's brother, Gaddafi. And then when they come and say, Fidel, rest in peace. How can Fidel rest in peace when he saw with his naked eye African leaders selling each other out? Today, there is no country called Libya. Zuma helped to destroy that country. You have no right to say Fidel must rest in peace when you have destroyed Libya. Gaddafi never took anyone's oil. Gaddafi loved his people. Saddam Hussein never took anyone's oil. We are told today we must not celebrate Gaddafi. We must not celebrate Fidel. Because those are dictators. They killed their own people. And then we are told at the same time, we must celebrate Margaret Thatcher. We must celebrate George Bush. We must celebrate Obama. The people who have gone to war and killed innocent souls. Gaddafi has never gone to any war and killed innocent souls. Fidel, rather, never went to any war and killed innocent souls. Today, we must celebrate everything that represents capitalism. We must celebrate everything that represents the West and America. And when you follow through all of those things that we must celebrate, they are causes against humanity. Socialism has never engaged in any battle against human race. Socialism has always been concerned about human development and not the killing of people. Let me tell you, they can say what they want to say about Fidel and tell you not to celebrate Fidel. They are misleading you because in their own hearts and souls, they are saluting him. They are very scared of him. Look at what they've done today with Che Guevara. They have commercialized Che Guevara. The beautiful face of Che is in every shop today. Why are they not putting the face of Margaret Thatcher? They know she's a witch. She killed a lot of people. She colonized nations. She stole from Africa. Why are there not beautiful t-shirts of George Bush Sr. and Jr.? Why are there no fashionable t-shirts of all these murderers? They hate socialism, but they love our leaders. Because our leaders are easily sellable. You can sell them anywhere. People love them. Why? Because they represent human race. That's who our leaders are. Today, Fidel is no more. Give them 10 to 20 years, they will be reproducing Fidel's image. Cuba is better than them with everything. That's why during embargo, they introduced fake cigars and sold fake cigars because they couldn't access cohiba in Cuba. But at night when they are alone, they smoke cohiba because you can't beat the beauty of Cuba. You cannot defeat the Cubans. They've never produced, they like things. They've never produced anything that is better than the cohiba cigar. By the way, I don't smoke. So I don't want to hear some journalists say Malema likes cohiba. I don't smoke. But I've made an observation that they've never produced anything better than Cuban cigars. Actually, when they were now reconciling with Cuba, the only thing reactionary Americans were excited for was that finally cohiba will come freely. We can smoke it during the day. That's Cuba for you. It has got lovely people, beautiful nation, beautiful in all respect. Those of us who had an opportunity to stay in Cuba, we know the beauty of Cuba. Those of us who had an opportunity of meeting Fidel Castro, we know the beautiful heart of Fidel. We don't speak about someone we never met. We don't speak about the nation we don't know. We know these people. It is for that reason that tomorrow we'll be leaving to Cuba to go and mourn the death of Fidel Castro with the people of Cuba, because we love them. They are a lovely nation. They were with us during our difficult times. It is our turn to return favor to the Cubans. The Cubans must know that in the EFF they've got a friend. We associate with you unashamedly. We don't apologize for our relationship with you. We are the only party in South Africa which is represented in Parliament that speaks about socialism openly. We are the party that told the ANC to put the motion today in Parliament to pass message of condolences to the Castro family and the Cuban nation. We are the ones who called Parliament and said we must send a delegation to Cuba. Parliament is sending a delegation to Cuba. Deputy President of EFF will go with Parliament. I don't want those things of Parliament. I'm going separate, EFF. Because we are for the Cubans. We don't apologize when we have friends, when we know what our friends have done for us. Cuban people, you must know that the EFF is going to take over power, and once it has taken over power, we are going to openly associate with you. We are going to ensure that we support the growth of the Cuban economy so that you can pay your people well, you can develop Havana so that Havana can go back to its beautiful glory. Because they've destroyed it now. When they put the sanctions against you. They destroyed that beautiful city of Havana. Be rest assured that our solidarity with you will not be parked in a wardrobe until we take power. Everywhere else we are, we will continue to raise the Cuban issues because we believe that the suppression of Cuban people is unjust, and therefore we must expose imperialism for what it is. We say this because Fidel Castro was to us like Lenin, like Nkrumah, like Mandela, like Sobukwe, like Biko, like Chris Hani, like Winnie Mandela. Castro to us is like Robert Mugabe. We love Robert Mugabe for who he is. Although we accept it's time for him to step down. Again, when we are friends, we tell each other the truth. To save the Zimbabwean revolution, like Castro did, handing over power to his brother, President Mugabe must do the same. We need a new progressive leader in Zimbabwe who will continue with the legacy of Robert Mugabe, because we are not ashamed of Robert Mugabe's legacy. The legacy of taking the land. The land belongs to indigenous people of Zimbabwe in the same way the land belongs to indigenous people of South Africa. We are inspired by Robert Mugabe. We are inspired by Fidel Castro. We are inspired by anyone who can say to imperialism, no, this will not happen in my country. We salute the president of Bolivia, who has chased out the Rothschild banks in his country, chased out McDonald's, chased out Coca-Cola. Those are decisive leaders we look up to. Very soon they will be saying he is violating human rights. What is human right? McDonald's. How can McDonald's be a human right? Unhealthy food like Coke. So we salute everyone who's not scared of white people. So if you are sitting there and you are not scared of a white man, we salute you. You are a brave one. Don't be scared of a white man. Don't be scared of those who own the means of production. You must speak your mind at all times. You don't have to care who you are offending. The truth will remain the truth. It will never change. We are not diplomats. We are politicians. We always tell the truth. So I'm worried about you black people more than white people, because you are scared of whites. You actually listen to white people than you listen to black people. You actually prefer the opinions of white people on black issue than a black opinion. Every time Malema speaks against white people, there's going to be an opinion piece by a black person. But every time white people push our people into coffins and feed them to lions, there's no opinion piece by the same people. The liberation of South Africa starts with the liberation of your mind. The first thing you have to say when you leave this hall is, I want to be like Castro. And if you want to be like Castro in South Africa, the first thing you must do is to say, I'm not scared of a white person. I always see here crocodile tears of white people. Malema wants to kill white people. Stop being sensitive. No one is going to kill you. You think we're going to kill you because you killed our people. The killing mentality is in your head. We don't have a killing mentality. We have a mentality of justice and peace. The only thing we are not prepared to do is to prioritize peace over justice. There must be justice first before there is peace. Because peace without justice, we are pretending one day we're going to have an outburst. Please, we don't owe white people an apology. Black people, stop apologizing to white people. They are the ones who are owing us an apology. You have done too much to damage a black nation. We are unemployed because of you. We are dying of diseases because of you. We are illiterate because of you. We have surrendered to drugs because of you. You owe us a lot. You must show remorse and stop behaving like crybabies. The South African democracy is going to be built by a robust debate, particularly when it comes to race relations. We must stop pretending to each other here. The poor means black. The rich means white. For as long as that has not been resolved, there will be a permanent problem between the poor and the rich. Only socialism of Fidel Castro will usher in an equal society. We must take the banks, we must take the mines, we must take the monopoly industries, we must take the land in order to resolve the problem of inequality in South Africa. There will never be an equality in South Africa without equal ownership of the economy. Fellow fighters, that is the only way you can honor Fidel. Take your land. It belongs to you. Take your land. It belongs to you. Hey, Fidel took his land. Whether they were happy or not, he took his land. He took their companies and said, these companies were made through the sweat of the Cuban people. Bring them here. Stop being cowards and sucking up to white people. I have no business pleasing white people. I have no business making white people understand what I'm talking about. I'm worried when you don't understand black people. Because white people still control your mind. You don't have a house here. Yes, Zuma is a problem. But this is a problem that was created by white dominance. No single white person will claim that they don't have houses because of black domination. No. We were dominated by white race. And as a result, we have nothing. We want everything else that belongs to us. Let us celebrate Fidel. Let us not apologize for celebrating Fidel. We don't owe anyone an explanation. When they say to you, Fidel is a dictator, tell them Margaret Thatcher was a murderer. Tell them Bush was a murderer. Tell them all their presidents in America, they were murderers. Because there is no single president in America who has never gone to war and killed innocent souls. When they say to you here, these ones of South Africa, that why do you celebrate Fidel? He's got no respect for human rights. Tell them Fidel was never captured by a family. You are not going to go around celebrating captured souls. Because ours is a socialist agenda. Anyone that pursues a socialist agenda is our friend. Fellow fighters, our leaders, I want to thank you for having organized this important occasion. And we also want to thank the Cuban people who are here in South Africa for honoring us, for coming here and appreciating that there are people in South Africa and in Africa who are celebrating the good work they've done for us. All of us, let us continue. It's a lovely nation. We'll follow the lovely people of Cuba. Amanda! Amanda! Viva! Of Commandant Fidel Castro, long live! Long live the undying spirit of Fidel Castro, long live! Long live EFF, long live! I'm not sure if I can sing, man. Fidel Castro, how Castro, how Castro, aona ya sana. Fidel Castro, how Castro, how Castro, aona ya sana na ye. Sana how Fidel Castro, how Castro, how Fidel Castro.
All right.